Guys, what's the most disappointed you've ever been while sitting in a movie theater? Because no bullshit, I think that may have transpired tonight for me. And I need you to know that this review is coming from somebody with integrity. This is all honestly how I feel. Everything we're going to opine here today is completely sincere. Not that I want it to be, because if you've been following along and you know this channel and you know what I'm about, you know that I'm a fanboy of the Halloween franchise, then you know that I, more than anybody, wanted this movie to be wonderful. I wanted it to be fantastic. I wanted to go out of the auditorium pumping my fist and getting on camera today to gloat about what I got to see. And then I got to see it on Thursday and didn't have to wait until Friday. And then I loved it and had a marvelous time that I can't wait for Halloween Ends. And then I'm going to do all these videos in the wake of Halloween Kills, theorizing what could happen in Halloween Ends. And instead, I now feel like I don't even care too much to see how it ends. I will, because I'm going to see the completion of all this. I want to see what happens with Lori and Michael because I feel obligated to. But I just can't believe how off-put I was by Halloween Kills. So know that as I walk through this and I review it and break down why I'm saying these things, that it's not to generate a clickbaity thumbnail. It's not to generate engagement through dislikes and comments and all of that. It is my honest opinion. I wanted to love this movie, but I simply could not. I found it very off-putting. I quite frankly kind of am struggling to believe that the people who made Halloween 2018 made Halloween Kills. I just have major gripes with this film, gripes that I never expected to have. Of course, there were positives, and we will start with positives, but wow. But all right, let's get into it. Positives. The movie opens nicely. In Halloween 2018, we had that pumpkin re-inflating, and that all let us know, hey, the shape is back. The magic of Haddonfield is back. Halloween fans rejoice. We are course correcting. All of those sloppy, messy sequels can be forgotten, and we can just go from Halloween 1978 into a damn good Halloween film. I love that film. This movie also opens up with a nice little sequence involving, some elements that you might want to see. I don't want to say too much. This will not be a spoiler review, but it really does set the mood, sets the atmosphere, lets you know you're going to see a really menacing Michael Myers. That this is going to be an onslaught, if you will. And then, we all know by now that there's going to be a flashback. So let's talk about the flashback. Was it successful? Yes. That was without a doubt one of the most positive elements of this film. If you love Halloween 1978, you're going to have a real delightful time seeing them recreate the world of Halloween 1978. They do it so well. For a film that was shot on digital versus film, it just feels so akin. The lighting, the cinematography, just those nice dark blues, the way Michael is moving, all of it. Everything you could have asked for, they carried out beautifully, and I was delighted to see that. So that's wonderful. And then, of course, the movie's called Halloween Kills, right? So we got to have really grisly carnage candy out the wazoo, and they deliver that. So if you are a gore whore, you're somebody who just loves seeing blood and guts flung around, you like getting into the grisly, nasty business of things, then maybe that will be enough for you. But if you're somebody who first fell in love with Halloween because of scene building, slow building tension, suspense, terror, then I don't really know that this film is going to have it for you. Because even when it tries to implement those facets of Halloween, it is far too heavy-handed. This thing was not carried out with grace. It was not carried out with much creativity even. I oftentimes felt like this movie was being written by an angsty sixth grader. Some of the dialogue in this movie is simply horrendous and confounding that they ever thought that would sound okay on film, that people would not balk at the lines uttered in this movie. And what I think they were trying to do is recapture sort of that mysticism of Halloween, the mythos, the splendor of it all, the type of, the way that Dr. Loomis was able to walk into frame and start using Shakespearean type language to talk about the shape and about this boy with the blackest eyes. But the thing is, that was all being delivered to you through the lips of Donald Pleasance, a prestigious actor of high acclaim, and just so many people in this film, they don't have the same chops, they don't have the same gravitas, but yet they're being given dialogue that would lead you to believe that the director thought that they could carry it forward and deliver it properly, but instead it comes off as, like I said, something written in the crayon of a sixth grader with just so much angst and hatred for people and just wanting to lash out and be like, this will sound cool, but it doesn't. It's cringe inducing so often, especially when it is coming to you from Tommy Doyle, a character that I could not wait to see. And now I'm like, wow, I don't like what they made of Tommy Doyle. And if I watch Halloween 1978, I'm gonna have to watch this kid that I feel sympathy for, this kid that I feel some sort of connection to and I've rooted for all these years through rewatches. This is what he becomes, this character that I can't stand and who just sounds like a complete dumbass. Seems like he's been on his couch for the last 40 years just watching all of the worst action flicks and coming out and trying to do his best Macho Man impression. That is what so much of this movie feels like. It feels like the type of fare you would get from C-tier action flicks. Not what I expected from a Halloween film. They are trying so damn hard to recapture what happened with the earlier Halloween films and Donald Pleasance, and they are just failing left and right. And they don't just decide to dole it out to one character. Everybody is taking a stab at it. Everybody is trying to get in on uttering these like super iconic phrases that will be remembered and stand the test of time and will be quoted. And people like me 15 years later will be talking about videos about how awesome it is and putting forward these clips. And it's not going to happen because it is just so cringeworthy and awful and heavy-handed. And then there's dialogue that's supposed to be a callback. I mean, there's a moment here where Sheriff Brackett says something and looks dead into the camera, and it just makes you want to roll your eyes. It just does not fit. It was not the right moment. It's almost tone deaf. That's what I'm saying. I feel like Halloween 2018 was a flash in the pan. I cannot believe they got so much right in that film to then give us this film, to where it almost feels like the only accomplishment of Halloween Kills is finding a way to get Michael Myers out of the burning basement. Aside from that, not a whole lot of triumphs, not a whole lot of victories, not a whole lot of successes going here, except for those beautiful, nasty kills that if I were to redo my 10 best kills in the Halloween franchise, then yes, there will definitely be moments from this film. But outside of that, there's just nothing doing. And of course, these movies don't need great character arcs, but whereas I was intrigued to see what was going to happen with people like Allison and Karen in the first film, and I've done all these videos talking about where we could be going with them, this movie, it did nothing to further explore that, to really get into the relationship between them, their trauma, them and their grandmother, Laurie Strode, them and the boogeyman. Everything just degraded into this really poorly executed macho thing of, we're going to hunt him. Evil dies tonight. Like everybody's some big badass, and they're going to go out on the trail of Michael Myers and just make one confounding, baffling, idiotic, asinine decision after the next. And I understand that happens in slasher movies. Believe me, I get it. Don't come at me in the comment section and say, hey man, it's a horror movie. What has to happen? No, it doesn't. It does not. And if it does have to happen, I can stomach one or two. I can have one or two idiots in my film. Or I can have one character that's otherwise intelligent, but when the shit hits the fan, they just get so terrified they make one bad decision. But everybody in this film is governed by plot convenience. Nobody acts like a sensible human being. They're working with the backdrop of 40 years of living under the shadow of Michael Myers. And they're just getting reports left and right of more and more grisly murders and massacres. But they're going to start cracking wise and exchanging jokes and making light of things? No, they wouldn't. This movie completely destroys any attempt at building suspense and tension through just terrible dialogue and poor comedy. And I understand Halloween 2018 had comedy, and maybe we should have expected that, but I thought that was executed much better, and it wasn't so heavy-handed, and it wasn't so often included. Here, every scene, it feels like they're going for some sort of laugh, and they're just not getting it. Just so ill-advised. And then the boogeyman himself, Michael Myers. There's a positive. James Jude Courtney, thank you for what you've done. You are absolutely one of my favorite actors to portray Michael Myers, and you do astounding, really fantastic work in this film. The stunts, the kills, they're all wonderful. The way you move, fantastic. I just don't like what this script did to your version of Michael Myers, because let's face it, when dealing with this property, when dealing with the shape, you walk a tightrope. And on one side, you have supernatural, and on one side, you have just a mere man. And it is so hard to balance those two aspects and to walk that tightrope. And oftentimes, the sequels that we have retconned, they bounded over the edge. And they couldn't walk that tightrope. And I think this movie absolutely does not. And it does it in startling fashion. I'm not going to tell you what I mean by that, but I'll just say there were moments towards the end of this film that I was like, oh my God, we're doing this. And we're going to do it with the accompaniment of a super over the top, just way too grandiose, just silly voiceover. There's so many voiceovers in this film, and just none of them really worked for me. I cannot believe what has happened with this film. And like I said, all that is really accomplished in this film is giving you a couple cool kills and getting Michael out of the basement. Outside of that, nothing interesting going on here. No developments with any characters that are worth mentioning. No reason to like anybody any more than you did in Halloween 2018. You might like them less. That most definitely happened for me in a few instances. Nothing happening story-wise, though. Michael's not out there in some spot now that I'm like, oh, cool, at least we drove him to a point that was necessary and we're setting something up. I feel like all we really did was bide time. So my apologies to all the reviewers from the Venice Film Festival that I took to task. And I said that, you just weren't the right audience for this, and you were never going to have a taste for this type of thing. That was not fair of me, because I was wrong. And I can admit that now, because as somebody who's watched all these films countless times and has such a love and appreciation and understanding of this franchise, I can tell you that they got a lot wrong. And they shot themselves in the foot, and they did not leave it on a note that you go, oh my God, what is going to happen in Halloween Ends? You're just kind of like, okay, well, we had a movie. That's all that was accomplished. We had a movie. There's no reason that this had to be a trilogy. They do not have enough story. They do not have enough in the character arc department. There's not enough developed here to merit there being 3 movies in this little series in the franchise. It should have been one and done, or should have been one and then one other film. So it should have been Halloween 2018, then Halloween Ends. We did not need Halloween Kills. It is nothing more than a revenue generator. That's honestly how I feel, and I can't believe I'm saying that. And I'm sorry if this comes off as sour grapes and it comes off hatred. And I know this movie's gonna probably this video is gonna be my most disliked video I've ever done. But outside of the opening, the music of John Carpenter and co., the portrayal of Michael Myers by James Jude Courtney, and then a couple cool kills here and there, the ones that I haven't already seen in trailers, there was nothing about this film I liked. There were so many moments that I felt like I was just forcing myself to get through. And if I feel it necessary, if the comments and the reception, there's enough views in this video, then I will do a spoiler review, and I can get into all my grievances a little bit more, and I can talk in detail, and I can explain myself a little bit better. But I got to let you know, from a narrative standpoint, from a character standpoint, from setting up Halloween Ends, from being a send-up to Halloween 1978 to being a send-up of Halloween 2018, I just feel like this movie failed abysmally. That there was not a whole lot of merit to this. And the people next to me, they just started talking as the movie went on. You could tell they were checked out of it. I actually heard the girl ask if the man wanted to go home. My girlfriend and my cousin, who I took to this film, both of them kept looking at me like, I'm so sorry. I wasn't talking to them. They had no reason to know I was not having a good time. I was minding my own business watching the film. But by what was unfolding on screen, they knew to look at me and be like, I'm sorry, this isn't good. I'm so sorry. Because we all drove to the theater hyped. We were so excited. And there just wasn't a reason to be in the end. And I can't believe I'm saying that. So I'm sorry, because this really was a downer. I've said a lot of negative things about this movie, but I hope you can understand where I'm coming from. There are so many moments in this movie that are baffling. So much character work that is ill-advised. So many voiceovers that are cringy. So much dialogue that is just, wow, we're doing that? We let a 6th grader sit down and binge watch a bunch of Schwarzenegger movies, then we told him to go write Halloween Kills? That's how it feels at times, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but Halloween Kills will not even make my top 10 films of 2021. I never expected that. I thought it would be the best film of the year for me, and I'm so sorry. It's going to be really interesting to see where I put this in my ranking of the franchise. I'm sorry if I lose any subscribers over this, but I have to tell you my honest opinion, and this is how I feel. So if you'd be interested in a spoiler review, let me know. I will go into more detail and we'll talk about things there. Maybe I can better explain myself and save a little face if you feel differently. If you did love the movie, awesome. I'm glad. I really wanted to. Go down in the comment section. Let me know what you love. Let me know what I missed. Let me know what I'm wrong about. And actually, build a case for yourself. Don't just drop F-bombs and tell me I'm a this and that and get personal. Actually build a case for yourself. Let's have good discourse, because at the end of the day, we all love Michael Myers. We all love this franchise. We all were captivated by what John Carpenter created for us. And that is why I feel so strongly. That is why I have such a big reaction to this. And Halloween 2018, guys, that was the best experience I've ever had in a movie theater. So obviously, I'm not just a hater. Obviously, I was on board for this new vision and the new trajectory. But I feel like we shot ourselves in the foot. I don't know where we're going to go, and I don't even know if I care to go along for the ride. I'm just going to be going out of obligation because I am a fanboy. I will rewatch it. Maybe things will change. Maybe I'll see some redemptive values, and I will let you know if I do. But for now, for tonight, I'm very underwhelmed, and I'm supposed to go see it Sunday. And I wish I was looking forward to it, but now I kind of feel like, oh man, the people I'm going to see have no idea what they're in store for. But those are my thoughts. Those are my honest feelings, even though I'm so sad to present them to you in such a manner. Let me know your thoughts on the movie. Be sure to subscribe if you felt the same way, or if you're new to the channel, or if you have just out of sympathy because like, oh, poor boy had his heart broken. But other than that, I hope you have a fantastic day. I'm Nate for Nate Flicks saying that's a wrap.